Welcome back. You are watching Checkpoint. Let's now just quickly take a look at, or rather speak to Professor Matilu Mwau. He is the infectious diseases specialist and deputy director, Cambry, now joining us by way of phone. Professor Mwau, thank you very much for joining us here on Checkpoint. A quick one. Kenya now reports that we have done over 13,000 tests. What does this mean? Who have we tested? How many people can we account that we have actually tested them?
Thank you very much for having me. You realize that we spent quite a bit of time testing those people who are in quarantine and those people who are in isolation, and then the contacts and the contacts of the contacts. That's where we have been at this moment. And remember that we have tested people twice or more times so that you could see the point at which they needed to go home.
When we talk about the number 13,000, you're talking about we've done repeat tests on some people. So do we have a number, a figure that we're working with that we have actually tested this number of people regardless of the number of times it's been done on one person?
Yeah, I could probably check that, but in terms of the numbers, the number is less than half of 13,000 because some people have had 2 tests, others 3 tests. Less than half of 13,000.
10,000. Would you say we're on the right track as far as testing is concerned and just handling this virus so far?
Yeah, actually, in fact, I'm quite pleased with the strategy. And I'm also happy that we are now moving on to targeted testing of large numbers of people. So I feel that we're on the right track at the moment.
Which labs are we using for testing? And talk to us about the capacity so far. And are we going to see this in the counties as well?
Actually, the last time we spoke, we had just about 5 manual labs, and then we began to bring in automated labs. This evening, when I checked, there were at least 14 labs that had put themselves together for testing, and many of them are operational. And many of them are automated, but we're also using the manual labs at the same time because we have both types of reagents, those ones that are used for automated testing and those that are used for manual testing. These labs are all over the country, from the coast. That's Coast Provincial General Hospital. Then we have a Cliff Wellcome Trust. We have Kisumu, Busia, and then Nairobi, Eldoret. These labs have all come on board.
There's a question being fielded by a number of people on social media. What is the cost of getting yourself tested for COVID-19, and are you encouraging people to volunteer to be tested?
Most of these locations are in the public sector. Therefore, it's a funded program and it's not costing the person who is tested any money. But if you go into the private sector, you could easily pay somewhere near 10,000 shillings. So in terms of whether we're encouraging people to volunteer, the answer is probably no, because that is not the strategy right now. But it may get to a point in the future when we've mopped up those who really need the test that we may decide to ask other people to volunteer. But for this moment, there is a very well thought out strategy from the Ministry of Health that is being implemented, and voluntary testing has not become one of those things that you do right now.
A few days ago, there was a conversation around rapid testing. Are we still talking about that? When do we expect to see this happen?
Actually, the confusion was somewhere between rapid testing and fast and high-throughput testing. All right. When you talk about rapid testing, you're probably thinking about the test strips and the test cartridges that you use, similar to those used for HIV. Now, our experience so far with coronavirus and the experience in other countries is that many of the rapid tests have not worked so well. But luckily for us, we have polymerase chain reaction tests that are delivering results very quickly in 2.5 to 4 hours. So we are not that worried about testing large numbers of people when we have this kind of high-throughput testing. But it would have been really nice to identify a rapid test that works well. There are some countries that are beginning to experience rapid tests that are starting to have better performance than the first generation of previous ones. But this is still science in development.
Thank you very much for joining us, Professor Matilu Mwau, infectious disease specialist, as well as Deputy Director, Cambry, talking about the testing, saying that in terms of the people who've been tested, we're looking at a number less than half of 13,000, but quite insists that Kenya is on the right track and we're about to start target testing. We'll be keeping with this, giving you 360 reports, degree reports.